Hello and welcome to our continuous coverage of the annual Constituency Delegate Conference of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, which would see the election of candidates to contest the December polls in constituencies where the NPP has sitting members of parliament. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM, also on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, affiliates across the country and worldwide at myjoyonline.com. On television, we're live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. I am Mama Viu from now till 3 p.m. We'll touch base with our correspondent in all 168 constituencies. First of all, no primaries in the Subin constituency in the Ashanti region due to a court injunction arising out of the alleged removal of names in the constituency album of delegates. Again, no election in Asante Akim North because of tampered photo album allegations. At least that was the decision by party executives. But there may not be that situation. That may not be exactly the situation on the ground. We'll find out shortly. No primaries in Kwada. So today, as the election has been moved to Wednesday, first-term MP Samuel Kwejo is competing with some two others. There were issues with Gushego, but that has since also been resolved. The two aspirants, including the sitting MP, suddenly withdrew from the contest. But the party has named the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Hassan Tampuli, as the candidate for Gushego. Also, the Health Minister and MP for Doma Central in the Bono Ahafu region, who is already in his third term in Parliament, gets another opportunity to be on the ballot in December without a contest today because of the withdrawal of his only contender, Dr. Yao Yeboah. So in all, 67 candidates are unopposed. My guest later on in studio with me to do the analysis, Dr. Kwesi Jonah, a senior research fellow at the Institute for Democratic Governance, IDEC. In the next hour or so, counting will begin in electoral areas where voting has ended. Stay with us for full details of what's happening on the ground. It's your election headquarters. Well, constituency executives are implementing a no face mask, no vote directive. Ebo Mensah is supervisor for Krowo constituency. That's where my colleague Ernest Kojomeno reports that there were some misunderstanding there about the album at some polling centers.
I am here at the Krowo constituency. Krowo is the whole of Nungwa from First Junction all the way to Togono in the Spintex area. And the incumbent member of parliament is the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, that's Elizabeth Afolekwe. Now, the history here is that the people of Nungwa would always align with the governing party. And so every time you have a sitting member of parliament given the first opportunity to serve, usually the people reward him or her with another opportunity, a second term, unlike their neighbors at Teshi, where it is difficult for any member of parliament at all to get a second term. And so we'll be speaking to some of the delegates here shortly. But I first want to speak to the presiding officers here, the electoral officials here. This is our first stop, Preseko, a very popular school here at Nungwa. And so we'll be speaking to the presiding officer to find out exactly how things have been so far. About 175 people are expected to vote at this very polling center, and so we will find out. As I understand, quite a number of people have already cast their ballots, and so let's get closer here and speak to the presiding officer for this very polling station, that's Preseko, and we're joined by Madam Beauty. She is the presiding officer for the polling center. Thank you very much, madam, for your time here on Joy News. Did the poll start at exactly 7?
Yes, please. We started at exactly 7 o'clock.
Okay. Now, how many people are expected to vote?
107 people.
107 people. So from 7 p.m. it's past. It's about 9 p.m. as we speak now. How many people have cast their ballot?
66.
66 out of the 107. So we just have a little over 40 people to do so. So you are confident to be done by before 1 p.m.
Yes, please. Hopefully.
How has the process been in terms of the agents and the people coming in? Are they familiar with the process?
They are very familiar, please.
If you can just take us through what happens when one comes here.
Okay, so when you first have to wash your hand at the beginning there,
Okay.
and then you move to the first desk.
So I see the Veronica bucket there, and Azu, if you could just show us that, the pink Veronica buckets there with water in there. So you do the hand washing over there?
Yes, and then
with
you,
soap and water, I
of
guess.
course. And then you move to the register where you check your name.
Okay, like the woman is doing now.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then from there?
From there, your fingers are marked with indelible ink at the same table. Then you move to the next table for your ballot.
And I see that you have a tissue there, which is not a regular feature. Why is that?
Because of the COVID-19. We are observing all the protocols.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So from there, from that table, you move to this second table?
Of course, where you have you pick your ballot.
Okay.
So from the ballot, then you move to the screen.
And for emphasis, there's just one. You get one ballot.
It's just one because it's only 4.
Okay. But I also see on the table that you have hand sanitizers there.
Yes, of course.
All just in respect of the protocols?
Yes, please. We are observing the protocols.
Okay. So then from there?
You move to the voter screen to cast your vote, like the woman is doing.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And then from there, you move.
You move straight to the ballot box to empty it there.
Okay. So, I mean, how are you enforcing the social or physical distancing? I see quite a number of people around here, but in terms of the process from the washing of the hand, how are you monitoring that?
Yes, we are monitoring. You can see that we have someone who is helping us to do it.
Okay.
That is why they are not entering in them, but entering one after the other, so that we can observe the distance.
Okay. Okay. So how about your officials? At what point do they use the hand sanitizers and for the people coming?
Any person who comes, like you can see, after washing your hands, you need to sanitize because they are on gloves, so we can't sanitize. That is why they are in gloves. Okay. Yes. Okay. So we use the hand sanitizers on the voters coming. Yes, that is what we are doing here.
All right. In terms of security, what will be your remarks so far?
We started so much with number of police officers around. You can see one behind me here, and there were about 4. I think they are around. So we have a very strong security around. So far, we have not had any casualty.
And like very typical of such elections, you see, Gabriel, if you could just give me that shot there, a lot of delegates being served some breakfast. We'll be finding out who this is coming from. It characterizes usually such elections. But I'll also speak to some of the agents for the candidate. And remember that Elizabeth Afolekwe is being contested by 2 other people, strong men. We have Eric Okine as well as Emmanuel Laye, who are contesting the incumbent Elizabeth Afolekwe. So it's quite a keen contest here at Krowo. We see if Elizabeth will be able to retain the seat, on the ticket of the NPP, first of all, and then subsequently in the general elections come December 7th. But let me speak to one of the agents. Thank you very much for your time here on JoyNews. Who are you representing here?
I'm representing Emmanuel Laye Odai.
Okay, so Emmanuel is the man you're representing. In terms of the album and the process, what would you say about it? What are your observations?
The album we know we are going to use to vote is the same album we are using now. So I think everything is perfect here.
So you're able to cross-check whoever that comes?
Yeah, I think the EC brought the album we have, so everything is perfect. We are doing perfectly well here.
In terms of social distancing, you know that we have COVID-19 and you're supposed to be observing that. I think you need to put on your nose masks properly. How safe are you?
I think the EC did very well. They brought Veronica buckets here. They have soap, they have sanitizer. So we are using them. I think they did very well. So we are okay. We are observing the social distancing and everything is going on well.
Okay. Let me speak to this other agent here I see. And I can predict that you are representing Elizabeth Afolekwe.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So you are representing the incumbent member of parliament. What are your observations so far with the album, with the process?
With the album, everything is fine. The EC is doing very well. They are doing their work excellent.
And how are you also ensuring that we indeed observe the social distancing and all the safety protocols as we've been adhered to, we've been asked to do?
Before you come, you wash your hand over there. Before you come and check your name at the register, you have a sanitizer over there to sanitize your hand and then to at least clean your hand with a tissue before. So we are observing all those protocols, please.
Your candidate is the one who is being challenged here. The two other people want to unseat her. How confident are you of a victory at the end of the day?
The victory is in the Lord's hands, and then we've already won those two people who are coming. And remember, the woman is the neck of the house, and she has taken the lead already. So we are taking the lead in everything, and we are the first on the ballot box.
And on the ground, it appears that there are some people who are not really happy with how she's managed things in the constituency. Do you think this will be, and for people who are watching, they say that this will be very close, especially between Mr. Okine and your candidate. What do you mean?
Our candidate is winning. Yes, things are good on the grounds for us, so our candidate is winning.
All right. So that is the agent for Elizabeth Afolekwe, who is the Member of Parliament for Krowo and also the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture. This is the first, our first stop in this constituency, the Preseko polling station. And as you have been told by the presiding officer, just about a little over 65 people have cast their ballot. I'm sure that has gone up because a while ago we saw some people do so. And it is predicted that they should end much earlier, even before 1 p.m. and hopefully, but let me just find out from her quickly, if we have all 107 people voting before 7 p.m., what happens? Are we going to go ahead to count the ballot, or would have to necessarily wait for 1 p.m.? Madam, what happens if you have everyone show up before 1 p.m.?
We have to wait and count at 1 p.m. since we are supposed to end at 1 p.m.
So that is the rule, it doesn't change?
It doesn't change.
You cannot come to a compromise with the agents or anybody?
If the agents agree that you should count it, because everybody has counted, and maybe by the time we maybe to get it 1 o'clock exactly, and we'll be done everything.
Okay. So what are the circumstances that will not allow you to do the counting if everyone has showed up before 1 p.m.?
When the agents do not agree.
That is the only point.
Yes, that we should count, because everybody, at least everyone has come to cast the vote, and that's the number we are expecting. Okay. So if it left even one person, we have to wait for that person till it is 1 p.m. please.
And in terms of the counting, how is that going to be done? Usually that is the time that you see a lot of people massing up, a lot of chaos. How are you going to ensure that this time around, because of the situation we find ourselves in, you do that in a manner that will still be in compliance with the safety protocols? That
is why we have the security here. So they are going to help us. You see our demarcation tape. So we are going to move them out of our terrain so that we have enough time, and then the crowd will not be on us so much, so the security will help us handle that issue. Yes.
So that is the presiding officer for this polling station, Madam Beauty. And obviously, we are not in ordinary times. It is not usual to see hand sanitizers, to see gloves, and to see tissue paper and all of those on your electoral officer's table, like we've seen with other elections. It is because of COVID-19. And I must say, I've seen quite a number of people in their face masks. Also, there's business on the side with the selling of party paraphernalia, which comes with such elections, people trying to cash in on the season. And that is the latest here from Nungua. We'll be going to the other centers and we'll keep you updated on what happens here. Remember, the contest is keen. It is between the incumbent Member of Parliament, Elizabeth Afolekwe, that's Emmanuel Lai, and Eric Okine as well, who wins the Krowo seat on the ticket of the NPP. My name is Ernest Menu, coming to you live from Preseko here at Nungua. Stay with us.
You had my colleague Ernest Kojomenu reporting from the Krowo constituency. In studio now is Dr. Kwesi Jonah, a senior research fellow at the Institute for Democratic Governance, IDEG. And this is your election headquarters, our continuous coverage of the primaries ongoing. Dr. Jonah, thank you for your time. Thanks for being here. First of all, you've been observing. So let's talk about your general observations so far about today's events.
Yeah. Now, if you look at this particular primary, remember that they did the primaries for the constituencies where they do not have any MPs some time ago. But this particular one, primaries in constituencies where they have certain MPs, you see that, first of all, there are too many unopposed candidates. There are too many unopposed candidates. And when in a primary election, you have too many candidates, unopposed candidates, it's like a choiceless democracy, a democracy without choice. Close to 40% of the places have already been taken up by candidates who are not being opposed by other interested candidates at all. But there's something also very striking about the second feature to note, is there's something also very striking about the fact that we have so many unopposed candidates. If you look at the background of these unopposed candidates, many of them are ministers or people who have been given high political appointments under this particular regime. Now, what it means is that the process of becoming an unopposed candidate is not a random chance process. It is a politically selective process which benefits those who are other ministers or occupy high government appointments.
Well, what is particularly wrong with that?
It does something, what is democracy? Everybody is trying to get in. Now, what this process of unopposed, there are so many people who are MPs who also want to go unopposed. My friend Katie Hammond, for example, but they are not ministers, they are not deputy ministers, they are not chief executives of anything. They couldn't get in. They couldn't get in. So this is a process that favors a particular political class. But the third feature is that there are very few women. Out of the approximately 308 candidates who are vying for positions, only, I understand, 47 are women, which by their own arithmetic is about 15.2% of the this is something that you should pay attention to. We have for so many years been saying that the time has come for us to put our women at the same level politically with our men, and therefore you want an affirmative action bill to be passed. This particular primary demonstrates the urgent need for us to pass an affirmative action bill in order to elevate our women, to create an even playing field for both.
So what has contributed to these low numbers of women? Is it that they're generally not interested? Is there something preventing women particularly from taking part?
They are very interested. First of all, because this is a primary election in constituencies where there are certain MPs, if there are very few MPs in the parliament, few women in parliament already, it means the certain women MPs who will be participating will be few. Will be few, plus all kinds of social and cultural impediments within the constituencies which prevent women from, if you check the structure of the administration of the party at the constituency level, almost chairman, vice chairman, secretary, almost all of them, the gatekeepers are men. And they sometimes make it very difficult for the women to get in. But
still on what is distinctive about the primaries?
There's another thing called the ruling party syndrome. I am sure that when the NPP was not in power, people were willing to contest on their ticket. But when they are in power, you get more people getting interested. You get more people. So this is one way in which this primary is maybe different from the other primaries they had. Because why are people interested? Why do they want to contest? Because they see the parliamentary seat not as an end in itself, but as a ticket to become a minister or a deputy minister. And that is why when the party is in power, it becomes so attractive to other people. And then finally, of course, the controversial disqualifications that took place. The controversial disqualifications that took place. Now, when people are disqualified in a way that is not satisfactory to everybody, you get a number of consequences. Consequence number one, you see people cursing, going to the deities to settle scores. They go to the river deity. I don't believe in any river deity. But for me, as a political scientist, this is a sign that there's something wrong with the process. There are issues of transparency, there are issues of fairness, there are issues of equity. That is, they are going to the deity, but there's something they're complaining about.
But can you satisfy everyone in a process like this?
You don't have to satisfy everyone. Everybody must see that if this candidate has been disqualified, he has been disqualified on proper grounds. He has not been... Take the case of Philip Addison, a well-known NPP lawyer who defended the party in 2013. This man wants to contest on an NPP ticket in Akrapim, although you don't know you. How? Everybody, every child in Ghana knows Philip Addison was the one who was defending the president when he set a petition to the Supreme Court.
Exactly, but isn't it a different story when you get to the constituency level? I mean, they have conditions that you must satisfy, and you have to be known on the ground.
In the case of Philip Addison, I have heard highly placed NPP officials who say that this man has served the party so well that we are surprised that but anyway.
We'll continue with that. Yeah. I want us to make another stop at Dom Kwabenya. My colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, joins us live from that constituency, one of the hot spots in this primaries. Parker, what have you observed so far?
And Mamavi, just as you said, it's one of the hotspots here in the Greater Accra region. And you know that two candidates, Honorable Adjasafo and Michael Kwe Jr. are in this race. Both of the candidates have a lot of things in common. Adjasafo is a lawyer. Michael Kwe himself is also a lawyer. And the ambassador to India, whilst the MP is the deputy majority leader and also minister responsible for public procurement. So it's been quite interesting here at Dom Kwabenya. In fact, I've visited about 3 different polling centers, and I must say that it's been an incident-free, with the exception of a while ago where I am currently at the Atomic polling station, where an agent and a delegate had some misunderstanding, some altercation, because the allegation was that the delegate was actually taking a photograph of whoever he was voting for, and the agent wasn't happy with the situation. So there was a bit of altercation and misunderstanding between the two, and he had to take the intervention of the electoral officer for this polling center to intervene. And Madam, well, she's busy at the moment, but we'll get to her and really understand exactly what happened. But I have been speaking to the chairman of the talking about some of the concerns. Interesting.
I wouldn't call it endorsement, but then maybe leaning towards the incumbent because of the kind of the nature of her position, chairman and an MP relationship is very, very cordial, and the kind of jobs that she's been able to do since we came into power, she's been able to do a lot of things for the constituency.
You said was a father role in this constituency. And why do you want to choose the incumbent over her main contender, that is Michael Kwe Jr.?
That's why I'm saying that. I may not say that I'm solidly behind one.
But you said you lean towards the incumbent.
Well, yes.
That is throwing your weight behind.
That is how people see it, because of the way the relation between the chairman and the member of parliament. You should be able to work with you for member of parliament. Other than that, chairmanship is no position. And that's exactly what is going on.
So for you, at the end of the day, what are you expecting the delegates? I mean, what are you expecting from them with regards to who should lead their party into December?
I'm expecting the best candidate to win this afternoon.
So that's chairman of the party in the Dome Kwabenya constituency, Robert Osei Yeboah. Parker, you've also been speaking to one of the aspirants.
Yes, I'll be speaking to Michael Coe Jr., who he says is the grassroots man and wants the delegate to vote for him. Well, there are some allegations that he is actually not a grassroots man and that he only stepped forward to lead the party basically because he wanted to become an MP and started helping the constituent. But in times past, when he decided not to contest in the constituency, he failed to help the constituent. We can listen to him.
We are confident, and that's why we took part in the election. And we want to say that the delegates are about to speak soon, so we'll wait for that to happen. In the meantime, they are voting, and so I just want to go and check what is happening upstairs.
Yeah, but we know that your chairman, we spoke to him a while ago, and then he talked about leaning towards the incumbent member of parliament. What is your reaction to it, sir?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we all know that he's entitled to his leanings. But I want to let him know that if by the grace of God we win, we'll work with him and make sure that the NPP is the winner in the constituency.
But the accusation about you not being a grassroots, are you also responsible? Because, I mean, they have accused you of not supporting the party within the time frame that you didn't want to become a member of parliament for this council.
Oh, I mean, that is most unfortunate, but it will be very difficult to answer those allegations today. Everybody knows what I contributed to the party as a whole. Everybody knows what I contributed to the constituency in particular. And so anybody who says that it's either someone who wants to contort the truth or just doing propaganda. But either way, the delegates know and they will vote today to determine that matter.
Michael Coe Jr. there. Parker, before I let you go, so what's happening currently? Are people showing up to vote?
Well, so people have been at this polling station to vote. In fact, they are expecting 147 delegates to vote at the center. And as we speak, cast their vote. So they are waiting for just about 7 delegates, 7 delegates to come and cast their vote so that they can end the process and at one begin with the counting. In fact, as I mentioned, all places or the polling centers that are the Electoral Commission is observing the social distancing protocol. So even before you come to this building, you are given a hand sanitizer to quickly sanitize your hands, even before you enter the building to cast your vote. So I can say for Dome Kwabenya constituency, the EC ensure that the social distancing protocol works and also the safety measures being put in place. For the delegates, they are now to their main campaign.
Wilson there. Parker also made reference earlier to some situation, and we want to bring that back to you, play back to you on television. We'll hear that as well.
No, please, I want to understand. So, and I am saying that it should be there. Exactly. Are we not saying the same thing? Yeah, so why are you saying it's observing an effort to must be
the press is okay. You are not getting interview. He's talking to somebody. Why do you want to record everything? Huh? Oh, it's okay.
Right, we were here when we heard of the agitation. So I went there and confronted them, not confrontation as in, in a form of annoyance, but I went there to find out what was going on. And it, shall I speak on?
Yeah. All right, so some confusion there earlier, and that was being clarified. In studio is Dr. Kwesi Jonah, Senior Research Fellow at the Institute for Democratic Governance, IDEC, as your election headquarters, our coverage of the NPP primaries. Dr. Jonah, anything you want to say, particularly with Dome Kwabenya? And then we'll come back to the controversial disqualification we're talking about earlier.
It's a very tough competition because these two candidates have met each other before in the past. And what I can say is that both of them are very, very good. Whoever wins is good for the party. It appears to me that in the past few days, the run down to this, the competition has been so almost violent, but both of them are very, very good.
Who is likely to take it? I mean, we will get to know when counting begins in about 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, but both of them are very good, as I said. It seems to me that the sentiments on the ground that Adjo Safo has been here with them all the time, whereas Michael Koye has been in India. It came down only because of the, but I tell you, both of them, I know them, they're very, very good.
Okay.
In fact, Adjo was my student, so.
So she's likely to, but we've heard from the chairman of the constituency, who is not hiding the fact that he's closer to Adjo Safo and talking about some of the things that she's done on the ground.
Yes, but don't forget, the chairman is only one out of a number of executive members. In fact, when Michael Koye a couple of days ago donated 5 tricycles, the chairman didn't go. He asked the deputy chairman to receive those items. So it looks, and there were other executives there. So his bias is well known, but as Michael Koye himself said, everybody's entitled to get.
Okay, so let's continue the conversation on the disqualifications.
Yes, as I was saying, the disqualification, even though people have resorted to superstition, going to the river deity and so on and so forth, all these things, people see it as unchristian and so on and so forth. They raise issues of governance. The issues they raise are issues of fairness, issues of transparency, issues of level playing field, and issues of justice. Was my candidate disqualified on reasonable grounds? Or was he disqualified just so that some powerful person can go unopposed? These are the issues, and unfortunately, the party was very swift in saying that all those who went to do cases and so on and so forth at the river, they should be dismissed. But I think, fine, discipline is good, but you need to investigate thoroughly. I mean, what is it that they're complaining about? And what can you do better another time?
We've seen some people also go to court.
Some people are going independent.
Exactly.
Some people are also going independent. So these are some of the consequences of the disqualifications.
How are these things going to reflect on the general elections in December? Well,
I'll tell you that this is an internal party election. And unless the candidate goes independent, a really, really popular party goes independent, it will not have any effect. What will happen is what they call skirt and blast voting. If he goes independent, they will vote for the independent candidate, but vote for the presidential candidate of the party. And if he's very, very popular, the danger is that he may not be very popular, but he may pull votes. And if you are not in a stronghold region, that could affect the party.
It's interesting in Doma Central, where we have the health minister.
Yeah, sure.
We all thought there was going to be a contest, and then suddenly we had the only contender has pulled out, and so the minister is going unopposed. But we'll come back and continue. Let's go live now and listen in to the General Secretary of the party, John Boydu.
Even amongst you are not keeping the social distance. You see, so it's an education that all of you and all of us must continue to engage our people to understand that our health is more important than any other thing. And this is just to show that it is possible you can have elections, it's possible you can have registration exercise if you keep proper social distance protocol. I think there's nothing wrong with it at all.
At the end of this process, what's your expectation from especially those who may disagree with the results, those who may lose? Sometimes it ends up.
There's no point in disagreeing with the results, particularly when the process is fair, particularly where the elections will be counted at the place that the elections were held. And the only thing after that is to collate it at the collation center. So, well, for an election, yes, there's bound to be 1 or 2 people, but really, if it is fair, no matter what it is, yeah, that will be it.
Confident the NPP will come out stronger?
As you can see, it will be serve as a good example for all others to emulate. A lot of the political parties have not even done their own internal elections. And this is just an example to show that you can put in place proper measures to ensure that you observe social distance and still engage in your internal political activities. Yeah.
The majority leader made a point about some incumbent MPs and the fact that it would have been good if they may have been protected. Do you think...
Protect all incumbent MP? Can we do that? Huh? Can we protect all incumbent MP? We can't do that. There are areas that we should allow for this process to go on. It galvanizes the party. Where in the world do you have a situation where your constitution allows for internal contests in a party that you protect all incumbent MPs? How can that be?
So I don't think it will hurt the party if the strong MPs, some of them lose their seats perhaps?
Some of them are stronger today because they also beat another stronger MP. It is a democracy. This is a learning process for everybody. So we should allow our democracy to move on. We go to United States of America and other places. MPs are being contested. Some of them are changed. Some of them lose their primaries. Some of them lose the main elections. Haven't you seen an incumbent MP losing elections before? So what's the point here?
So, Honorable.
All right, so that's Joseph Akable interacting with the General Secretary of the NPP, John Buidu, in the Adenta constituency. Let's go live to my colleague Albert Sori, who is joining us in the Navrongo Central constituency in the Upper East region. The primaries has been generally, well, hot but peaceful, with voting ending by midday at some polling stations. Regional correspondent Albert Sori reports that the two candidates, Aviation Minister and current MP Kofi Ada, and the regional minister there are both confident of emerging as victors. We will talk to Albert shortly, but let's come back to you. We had the General Secretary of the party there. We were talking about some big shots being protected, but he also makes comments on that. I mean, it's not every sitting MP who is going unopposed.
Yeah. But that's what I was explaining to you, that going unopposed in this instance has become a politically selective. Some get protected, others don't get protected. And this is just as bad as being disqualified unfairly. Those who have not been protected are now beginning to ask themselves, why is my colleague being shielded from competition and I am? There are instances in which some of the candidates even feel that highly placed people within the party want them contested. You know what happened in this process? Initially, some people were declared unopposed because they disqualified. The party hierarchy very quickly restated those who were disqualified in certain areas but not in other areas. So people are very suspicious of the way in which, and that's why I was telling you that it raises a whole lot of governance issues. It raises issues of justice, issues of equity, issues of transparency, and level playing field. So unfortunately, people rather prefer going to the river deity rather than raising the...
Well, but there are some people who have been bold enough to go to the courts. They've had issues with their album, for instance.
Yes. The NPP has always had that problem. The album, what is the album? The album is the voters register for that particular constituency. And it is on the basis if your name is in your picture and the album, you are qualified to vote as a delegate. Now, what some candidates suspect is that they manipulate the album. They remove people who are unfavorable to a particular candidate and put others. They have not been able to find a satisfactory solution to this problem, and every primary it comes up.
How does that happen? Because this is from the constituency level.
Yes.
It's only put together at the national level.
Yes.
So how can somebody change somebody else's name? If you're not a delegate, you're not a delegate.
The allegation has been there all the time, not just in this primary, but even in previous primary. Dome Kwabenya, Michael Okoye stormed a place where the chair and his opponent were meeting. Suspicion was that they were manipulating the album. And that was the time when the Adjoa Safo said her life was in danger, but it just based on suspicion by other candidates that they were doing something funny with the album.
We know that the process is expensive.
It is.
So to hold the party, stop them from conducting an election today, to fight a battle in court and do this another time, will have implications. Do we expect the people who go to court to be punished?
The normal thing for the party to do would be to punish them. I do not believe in just punishing people. I think the party should create conditions that prevent people from going to court. You see, people go to court only when they think the internal mechanisms for solving these problems are grossly...
Okay, I want us to quickly go to Navrongo. Okay. Albert Sori is joining us via Zoom. Albert, what's the situation?
Yes, Mamavi, I'm currently at the polling station at the Katsina Nankana Municipal Assembly. Now, this polling station is also the collation center where all the results coming from the various polling stations will be collated and the final results declared. Now, a while ago, voting just ended here. 587 delegates are expected to vote in Navrongo Central. 28 of them are voting at this particular polling station where I am currently stationed. And voting just ended at this particular polling station. They are waiting for 1 o'clock for results and the election officials to bring in the results from the other polling stations, and then the counting will begin. So that is where I am at the moment.
And that's Albert Sori from the Upper East Region, Katsina Nankana, reporting from the Navrongo Central. Voting has ended, counting will begin, and we will be waiting for the results. But there was near clash at Mokosi Electoral Area Assemblies of God polling station in the Okaikwe South constituency. A suspended delegate, Edmond Kujo, showed up at the polling station with a letter from the regional office overturning his suspension, but was stopped from voting. Henry Kwesibedu has the rest of the story.
The story, I don't know the story he's talking about. I was called at regional for my suspension, right? Then after that, this regional secretary told me that they should revoke the suspension. And I said, okay, then I left. So I received a letter on my phone that I've been clear, we were 3. I've been clear, I'm right. Why not? When you were suspending me, did you give me a letter?
No, I'm not talking. I'm asking you a question.
No, okay.
You receive a letter on your phone.
No, what do you mean? Sorry.
The letter must come verbally so that everybody will see.
No.
Wait, there is this question.
So they told me that I'm clear, so I should come and vote. So yesterday I read a letter on our platform, Mokuzi platform. I read it that I'm entitled to vote, and I'm here to vote. That's all.
And then please, I'm in charge. Mugose, are you aware of it?
I'm aware. I don't have the letter here. All of those who have been suspended have been given amnesty by the National Party, so he's entitled to vote. Anybody that has any issue to do with that, they can take it upstairs. No. But I have the letter here that grants any. The letter is. If you don't have it, it's your own problem. You have to contact the executives. You know what to do. He's been cleared to vote, so you do your job, ma'am. It is your job. Kindly do your job. This is the letter. Everybody does it.
I think now it is an issue for you to solve over there. But he has come to vote. And once
when this letter came, a letter that they brought it yesterday. Be careful. No, you cannot be careful. A letter that they brought it yesterday, and the letter is faint. A letter that they brought it yesterday, why the letter is faint?
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Tell me not to vote. You are not joking. You are not vote. My friend,
I'm the constitutional vice chairman, and I'm saying he can't vote. He can't vote. He can't vote.
he has been cleared to vote. If he has been cleared to vote, then
thank you very much.
Informed about someone being suspended.
Thank you very much.
Please, I'll attend to you. I was not informed about someone being suspended. So once your name is in the album and you are eligible to vote, you have to vote.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that everybody will get his peace of mind.
Yeah, it has to do with somebody that has been suspended. And then today, he showed up with a letter here that he's been cleared to come and vote. And I'm saying that in administration, even if there must be a change, there must be understanding between the constituency and region to clear you to say to vote. But you don't show up here with a letter and say that you've been cleared, so you are going to vote. No. He claims the letter is from region. And I'm saying that if something is coming from region, a copy must be given to us with agreement with this region. Then you can say that, okay, we agree on something, so you can vote or not. But when that thing has not been done, discussion has not been done, and you say you are coming to vote, no, you will not be allowed.
My colleague Henry Kwesibedu capturing the moments in Okankwe South. I'll bring you in, Dr. Jonah. Okankwe South, this is the Mokosi area where a suspended delegate showed up saying that he had been cleared by the regional office to vote in today's exercise, but he was refused. Dr. Kwesi Jonah, you were talking about the administrative processes.
Yes, earlier I referred to some of the governance issues that arise from the procedures within the parties, disqualifications that people perceive as not right, and so on and so forth. How can you issue one person with a letter when the party structure in the particular electoral area or even the constituency where the voting will take place are not aware? You create, So we have a lot to learn, in order to prevent some of these things from recurring. They are happening all the time.
But he makes reference to a certain platform, and I can imagine that that will be a WhatsApp platform where the executives in the area are also on the platform. Yes. So if you've been cleared on a certain platform, you can't show up to vote.
No. It's a procedure. You don't just put on the platform that this person has been cleared. It's something that you settle with the executives before you put it on the platform.
Mm. But how can the regional office clear you and the constituency
is not aware, and the electoral area is not aware? So a lot of governance issues arise from, and it's not like we are criticizing NPP. It's every party must learn from.
But this is expected, right?
Yes.
I mean, because it's a huge exercise.
Yes, it's a huge exercise.
But we were
especially if you bear in mind that in the past, very few delegates, only about 100 delegates would have elected. Now 102,000. And don't forget, initially they were thinking of 400,000 delegates, and then they had to scale down when the cost implications were made known to them by the Electoral Commission.
Will we see a lot more people going to court even after this exercise?
Yes, this is something that I wish very much that the party would be able to stop. You see, why would anybody decide to go to court? Or why would anybody decide to go independent? Because he is not satisfied with internal party mechanisms for handling disputes, for handling conflicts. And sometimes, instead of sitting down to reflect on what is the best way of handling these issues, we tend to blame the person who is going to court, the person who decides to go independent, the person who, so on and so forth. I think there's a lot of merit or benefit in listening to people's grievances and then dealing with them.
You're on your election headquarters. Is our coverage of the NPP's primaries. At 1 o'clock, counting will begin in areas where voting has ended. That's the deadline that we got. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM on radio, on Love 99.5 in Kumasi. And if you're watching us across the country online, it's myjoyonline.com. We welcome your comments as well on social media. Let's go back to the Krowo constituency here in Accra, where Ernest Meno takes us through what will happen at the Coalition Center when all is done.
So this is another polling station that has been set up by the party. this will serve as the collation center for the Krowo constituency. You can see that not much is happening here because this is just for a select few, the party executives, and some top-notch as far as the constituency is concerned. So we're not going to see much of an activity until later, after 1 p.m., when all the results will be brought here for collation, and then we'll see the action unfold right here at this very polling station. As you can see, we have just one electoral officer, and then the agents for the candidates. That's Elizabeth Afolekwe, Eric Okai, and Emmanuel Lai. On my left here, you see my colleagues from other media houses interviewing a man there. That is the father, we're told, of the engineer, Eric Okai, who is competing. Emmanuel Lai, is the engineer who is also in this competition, who is seeking to unseat the incumbent member of parliament, Elizabeth Afolekwe. We'll have a word with him shortly, and then we'll tell you what is happening elsewhere here at Krowo.
Ernest Kojameno from the Krowo constituency. In studio with me is Dr. Kwesi Jonah, a senior research fellow at the Institute for Democratic Governance, IDEG. Dr. Jonah, I want us to talk about how what we're seeing today would reflect in December, where we're seeing some areas observe the the protocols because of COVID-19, but we've also seen in areas where it's gotten heated, in the Mukosi in Okaiko's south, where people simply forget that we're dealing with a certain disease called COVID, and so we can confront each other. How much of what we're seeing today would we see in December?
Yeah, it is not just this one, but during the pilot registration exercise of the Electoral Commission, I observed more or less the same thing. They make the facilities available, but there's no dedicated officer to ensure that if you have not put on your face mask, you do so. There's no dedicated officer to ensure that if the hand sanitizer is there, if the water basin, and you use it, and so on and so forth. They think just providing the facility is enough. And we are dealing with just 102,000 delegates throughout the whole nation. God willing, if we go to elections on the December 7th, we'll be dealing with between 17.5 and 18 million potential voters. So what is happening here should teach us that, look, we are going to handle even huge numbers come December 7th. So if people are not able to maintain the protocols here, it will be even more difficult. No. So we must learn from this. We must learn from the pilot registration exercise, so that the disease is not going to be around for a very long time, according to the WHO. It's going to be around. And in Africa, the figures are actually going up. Going up.
In the new Jabeng South constituency, voting has ended. Agents and electoral officers are waiting till 1 p.m. in about 3 minutes to start counting the ballots. Mr. Niama is the presiding member of the Anyeso Estate electoral area. But we're going to go on to the phone lines now. Or we're going to go to Zoom, rather, and have a conversation. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, so Maxwell Kodako is my colleague from there. He will tell us what's happening. Maxwell, what can you report?
Well, it's almost 1 p.m. Voting started exactly at 7 a.m. in all the polling centers. In the New Jabeng South constituency, they have 582 582 candidates with 35 polling centers, i.e. 35 electoral areas. As at 8 a.m., most of the polling centers have recorded about 100% voter turnout. So party agents, the electoral officers, have been waiting in most of the polling centers from 1 a.m. to as we speak. Presently, I'm at the Sempua Miensa electoral area. And then the electoral area, the polls is taking place at the Kufuor Technical University. Almost everybody have passed through the process. They are just waiting to open the ballot at exactly 1 p.m. So practically it has been very peaceful here in the New Durban South Municipality. In all the polling centers, you can count about 4 police officers manning the station. There I've seen some patrol vehicles with personnel from the CTU patrolling the polling centers and within the constituency to ensure that peace is maintained in the area. I've seen a couple of presidential staffers in town who are also monitoring the process keenly. So by and large, we can say that the process has been very peaceful. You know, the New Durban South constituency happened to be one of the flash constituency that was identified in the eastern region. But I must report that due to the tight security, the process has been very peaceful. We're just waiting for the Electoral Commission to start the ballot. Okay, presently the presiding officer here have picked the ballot box, and they will open it shortly and then begin the counting. So by and large, it has been very peaceful in the New Durban South Municipality.
And that's my colleague, correspondent Maxwell Kudako from the Eastern region. He also spoke to an electoral officer, Mr. Nyama. We want to listen to him now.
And by 8:15, everybody has started voting. Everybody had finished voting. And we had 16, we were expecting 16 voters, and all of them came and we have finished voting. So, no, we have been asked to wait till 1 o'clock. So even though we have finalized everything we are doing here, we are waiting till 1 o'clock before we open the ballot. So if you can check the ballot box, you realize that we have even sealed the entrance now so that no one can put in anything again. So we are just waiting till 1 o'clock.
As your election headquarters, we want to spend time, Dr. Jonah, and talk about the New Durban South constituency. As a place of interest, certainly we can't wait for them to begin the counting. Yeah. Mark Asibe-Yeboah, who is the sitting MP, it is his second term in Parliament, but he's got this fierce contest from the CEO of the Free Zones Authority, Michael Otri-Befi.
Yeah. Now, Mark Asibe-Yeboah is somebody who is very important to the party in Parliament. Mm-hmm. He's the chairman of the Finance Committee. His contribution excellent, but the kind of competition he's facing from the CEO of the GFZB, Ghana Free Zones Board, is people think that Mark Asibe-Yeboah is in danger of losing his seat. My problem is if he's so crucial, his contribution is so crucial to the Finance Committee that he chairs, then after he has left, will we get another equally good person to play that role? But the danger of Mark losing to the CEO is very real.
Should he have been protected? Should they have stopped somebody else from contesting him, in this case, Mr. Befi?
To be very honest with you, I don't believe in anybody being so indispensable. Everybody should be contested. What I don't like is protecting some and then leaving the others the rules. It's not enough. I don't want anybody. In a democracy, it should be competition.
Mm. Okay, so you're just worried because he chairs the Finance Committee, yes, and we see the kind of work that he does. If we lose him in Parliament, that would be huge.
Find maybe another person
to fill that gap. All right, so we'll wait to see how this goes. It's the New Durban South, and we will wait for the counting to begin. Maxwell Kudako is stationed right there. We will not let you miss any of this. But buy and get one free every day at Eddie's Pizza Hacho branch, only located at Agbogba Flowers, opposite AAA LP Gas. Or you can call them right now, even as you watch or you listen to us on radio.
Around that area.
Something to keep you company. You can call Eddie's Pizza on 027 413 3397 027 413 3397. Edith's Pizza can't beat that. So if you live in the Hacho area, You want some good pizza to keep your company, call Eddie's Pizza, Agboba Flowers, opposite AAA LP Gas. All right, let's go to Komla Adum, who is joining us from the La Dade-Kotopong constituency. Komla, what can you report?
I can report, Mama V, that the processes are almost getting done here at the Trade Fair Center, which is the main collation center for the constituency. So 10 polling centers we're supposed to have witnessed delegates trooping the places to cast their votes. Out of the 10, we've been to about 6 or 7 of them, and I can report that each of these polling stations or voting centers of some respectable level of adherence to the protocols, the hygiene protocols. They had Veronica buckets, they had hand sanitizers, for example, and then here at the trade.
Apologies there. We've lost my colleague Komla Adum, who's reporting from the Trade Fair Center, the main coalition center for the Dade-Kotopong constituency, but he did indicate voting has ended.
The former minister is contesting?
Excuse me?
The former deputy minister is contesting there?
Yes, the Dade-Kotopong. Okay, yes. We've got Vincent Sowa Odote, the former deputy minister, contesting with Joseph Gerald Tete. Nyan Yofio and Comfort Ade-Kote as well. So 2 persons trying to eliminate him.
Yeah, Yofio is a real force. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a strong fight there. We'll try and get Komla back on the line. We'll see how counting continues or begins and ends. We'll see who wins the Dade-Kotopong constituency. Will this be the last time that Vincent Sowa Odote will be in Parliament? Remember, it's his first term. Can he get a second term in Parliament? Is our continuous coverage of the NPP's primaries across the country. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM, also on Love 99.5 in Kumasi. We will take you to Kumasi live now. Let's see what's happening in Kumasi.
I have been to Mishayesu too. The military, the police are there. The security is also on top because they are not given any chances. And we are here at Bantama, and you can see the readiness of the police and the military. So on the whole, Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has been peaceful. It's only Subin which is about to start, but there too, the police presence, the military presence. So all what I want to say is that it's a family issue, and it's a family affair. So whoever wins is a family member. So once you've been allowed to contest, it means that the family has accepted you as a royal. So the supporters as well as the contestants will have to accept the verdict of the party people. So whoever emerges should have the support of the other candidates.
You just mentioned Subin. I know that an injunction was sought on Subin. Has that been cleared?
Well, as for Subin, first of all, even though we have heard it, I have also heard it. But as to whether the injunction has been served on the paper, on the party, that one I can't tell. So once the general secretary, that is once the regional secretary, as well as the chairman allows the election to go on, then the indication is that they have not been served.
So that's the mayor of Kumasi, Honorable Osei BNP, who had just arrived here. So now the EC is officially announcing the results as we speak. Let's.
21. Making a total vote of 27.
Are you declaring it now?
No.
All right.
Please, we are waiting for other results from the various centers. We have 9 centers, this is 1. We are waiting for 8 more.
Right.
Thank you very much.
So, David, that's the result we have as we speak. That's the results we have now. The same results I announced to you. That's just what he's re-echoing officially here. So we are waiting for results from other areas. Already we have our men in those areas, so we're going to make calls, and just within some minutes we'll get you the results in no time.
Erastus Asari Donko there reporting. I was excited. I thought we had all the results and it was going to be announced, but no, this is just one area out of 10. And so Erastus is staying put there, and he will bring us the results just when it is being delivered. This is an interesting area, Dr. Jonah. This is the Bantama constituency.
Yeah. Now, you see that a lot of the unopposed candidates are from Ashanti. And the point I was making earlier, Bantama guy was not protected. Why? Because the deputy chief of staff is interested in the seat. This is the third time he is challenging for the seat. And Ashanti is a stronghold. Once you win the primary, you can begin to call yourself Honorable MP. So the contest has been very, very clean, but people think that Asenso Boache will be third time lucky. Don't forget that the previous times when he contested, he was not deputy chief of staff. Now he's deputy chief of staff. He has all the powers of the Flagstaff behind him. So that's what is different this time around.
Some people have said just the New Job and South constituency where we were before we came to this side also has a strong backing from the presidency. If you look at the CEO of the Free Zones, yes. Will a backing from the presidency be a huge contributor? And how big of a blow would it be if a person like that loses?
If the person from the presidency loses?
Exactly.
The person with the backing of the presidency loses, it will be a very big disappointment to the president, but it will not affect the president's own chances of winning the election. What I would say is that it is not good for the presidency to put its finger in almost every primary pie. It is not good. Because sometimes people even use the name of the president. President is Montumawi, when in fact the president has not said.
If you're a deputy chief of staff, can you help it?
So it's important for the president to. I have heard some candidates who have told me in confidence that the president wants me to lose. So it's
If you're watching television, we're bringing you live visuals from Dome Kwabenya, and counting is just going to get underway. You would see the ballot papers. They're trying to open up the ballot papers, do the separation, and then they will begin to count. If you're watching us, then you can see these visuals of the electoral officers and the agents standing by, watching as they open up the ballot papers to begin counting. We'll bring you the results from Dome Kwabenya. We've just talked about the Krowo constituency, we're talking about the New Jabin, we've talked about Bantama. There are other hotspots. What are some areas that you're looking at keenly?
Well, those places where candidates are very dissatisfied, who are disqualified are very dissatisfied. I want everything to go peaceful, but my fear is that there could be disturbances of the type that we have seen on screens already. So the security people there should be very, very alert. Wherever some candidates have been disqualified and one or two candidates are remaining, you have to be on the especially where there have been demonstrations. And
even after the exercise today, you mean?
Yes. You have to be on the alert. In all this, it is not the president. Usually, the presidential candidate will benefit. People do what they call skirt and blouse voting, and they will vote for the president, but they will not vote for the parliamentary candidate. In a stronghold, you will capture the seat, all right. It just breaks down the votes. Yes.
All right, it's your election headquarters, exactly 13 minutes after 1. Counting has begun in most of the centers. We'll bring you the results in a bit. Counting is ongoing currently, as you can see on television. Dome Kwabenya constituency, the officers are still opening up the ballots, and the agents are looking on, seeing exactly what they're doing, and then we'll get the counting. It doesn't look like it's a lot of ballot papers, so we'll get the results.
No. This is a primary. This is a total national 102,000. So you can imagine very few people at any particular constituency. It's not such a huge number.
No one other party gave 1 o'clock as.
Yes, even the 1 o'clock, in my opinion, is too. I mean, there's too much time.
Because in some of the areas they had actually finished voting.
Some just finished as early as 9 o'clock. But they have to wait until 1 o'clock according to rules before doing any counting.
We're also bringing you pictures from Adenta. Same exercise ongoing in the Adenta constituency. That's also a place of interest, Dr. Jonah, yes. Because we know the incumbent, there are 4 people who want to take him out.
Yes. First of all, the Adenta constituency is a typical swing constituency. It's the graveyard of many MPs. NDC wins this time, the next time the NDC will lose, the NPP guy will come. So what is happening there right now is that some people think my good friend Asamo Babe, even if he wins the primary election, may not be, because this is a constituency, the graveyard of incumbent MPs. And that accounts for the reason why so many people want to contest him. Oh, he will not be able to win the seat for the NPP and so on and so forth. So Adenta is if you check from the time the Fourth Republic when it started, one time it's NPP, another time it is NDC. But that is why the contest there is so very, very keen. Everybody can point to history that this guy will definitely, if you allow him to go, he will definitely win the seat. And that's why he's facing us.
So we've got our cameras live from the Adenta constituency.
He's a very crucial communication director.
You mean?
Yes, communication director of the party, and he's doing very well in Parliament, his contribution in Parliament.
So why do some people think that if he wins, he will lose the main election in December?
Precisely because that is the history of that constituency. That is the history, There are some constituencies, you can't do more than one term.
It's just a tradition.
It's a tradition. Unless maybe you're one of the apostles of Jesus Christ, then you can, you can believe by some miracle. But they don't retain people. What it means is that the constituents have such a high expectation of the MP that it's almost impossible for any particular MP to satisfy their expectations.
So we're keeping an eye on Adenta constituency. Will Yaboabin Asamoah sail through, or will he simply be taken off? Our cameras are there live. We'll go back to Kumasi. Erastus Asari Donko is joining us. Erastus, what's the situation now in Bantama? Erastus, tell us about the situation in Bantama. What can you report? All right, Erastus can't quite hear me, but we will definitely connect with him for him to keep us updated on what's happening in the Bantama constituency. New Jaben South, we know that counting is underway in New Jaben South as well. Dum Kwabinya, and then in Adenta. Erastus Asari Donko will be joining us, so we'll take you to Kumasi in a bit. It's our continuous coverage of this NPP primaries in studio. My guest helping us with the issues, Dr. Kwesi Jonah, a senior research fellow at the Institute for Democratic Governance. We were talking a while ago about how much of what we are seeing today would we see in the main elections in December. But we talked about the women, the few numbers representing today. Would it be the same thing that we would see in December?
I am very, very worried. Unless you see the primaries, the two major parties, the primaries are almost done. So the very few women who get in are the very few women who are going to contest in December. So you can take it for granted that in the December elections, the number of people who were female candidates who will make it to Parliament will be very, very small. So it's a unless we take the affirmative action seriously to make sure, the objective should really be that no particular gender should constitute more than 50% of MPs. That should be the ideal. So you can't have more than 50% of men, you can't have more than 50% of women, so that will be the ideal. But right now, 30%, 40% will be fine.
Okay, so something to a cap on.
Yes. It won't happen just because you want it to happen. You must take action, and that is that affirmative action which is not coming, unfortunately.
Well, counting is underway now in the Dom Kwabenya constituency. So we see the electoral officers now counting the ballots. If we can get a sound on that, then we will get them doing the counting. We'll see where they are with it. Looks like it's ended, really. On your screens now, though, from Dom Kwabenya, we are in Kumasi. This is where Erastus Asari Donko is, Bantama constituency. We would get him to tell us what's happening, trying to get the results for us. People seem to be on their phones. It looks like something is out. Some people jubilating already. Is that what it is, really? Erastus will tell us what's happening in the Bantama constituency. Some people seem to be jubilating or excited about something. Erastus will fill us in shortly. All right, Dr. Jonah, we're talking about the women representation.
Yes.
And how we will see fewer women in parliament. There are people who have also said that even the few women in parliament, we're not getting enough inspiration from them. So how do other women also want to be in parliament?
What it is that you have to bring in the more inspiring. If you bring in more, you will get the kind of inspiration that you're looking for. These are so few.
So how do we put a cap on it? I mean,
no,
do we also force the women to?
You don't force the women to. There are a number of ways. If you have an affirmative action, it means then that you can put women into parliament who have not necessarily been elected.
Okay.
And some countries have it. So, for example, 30% of MPs will be, Kwame Nkrumah tried it, and it worked. He put in parliament women who had not been necessarily elected. He just put them there to balance.
But now we have NPP, NDC. So you must belong to a certain political party.
Yes. So the second thing then is if you want to implement, there are different ways of doing it. If you want 30% of women to be in parliament, you want 30% of 275, and then you give to each party to bring the women according to the number of MPs, a proportion of number of MPs you have. So if you have 200 MPs out of 275, you can bring in a certain number of women. There are different formulas. Kenya has a system which is very good. So if you go to Kenyan Parliament, you have significant number of women MPs. It's not that they have been elected; the parties have been asked to bring them in.
Well, Dom Kwabenya, on your screen now, the results. We'll try and get Parker to explain what is happening in Dom Kwabenya as well. And then we will get Erastus Asari Donko, who is standing by in Bantama as well, to explain. Erastus, we can see you live on television. Kindly explain what's happening in Bantama. Erastus, if you can hear me, I'm asking for you to explain what's happening in Bantama. All right, Erastus can't seem to hear me, so we will do the connection again and get a connection to him for him to explain to us what's happening in Bantama. And then Parker Wilson also in Dom Kwabenya. It's your election headquarters live on Joy 99.7 FM. On radio, also on Love FM in Kumasi 99.5, here on the JoyNews channel. Let's go to Erastus now. Erastus, explain what's been happening in Bantama to us.
Provisional results coming in at the moment, which seems to put Honorable Asenso Boache in the lead, but they are unconfirmed results by the EC. They've not been officially declared by the EC. Call them again.
Provisional results puts Asenso Boache, a deputy chief of staff, in the lead in the Bantama constituency. But these are provisional results. Erastus is back to do some more explaining. Erastus,
Kwashi Aidan Hall to be specific, and this is where we are collating the results right here for your election headquarters. And currently we have some provisional results coming in at the moment, which seems to put Honorable Asenso Boakye in the lead. But let me remind you, these are provisional results. They've not been officially announced by the Electoral Commission. But so let me run you through what we have at the moment. At the Kwashi Aidan Hall, where we are at the moment, counting just ended, and out of the 27 votes cast here at the Cultural Center, Honorable Asenso Boakye had 21 votes, and we had Ochem Abuaje, who is the incumbent, polling 6. So 6 for Ochem Abuaje, 21 for Asenso Boakye. When you go to Kokoso, one of the electoral areas, Ochem Abuaje had 19 and Asenso Boakye had 41. When you go to Abrepo Junction, Ochem Abuaje had 4 and Asenso Boakye had 41. When you go to Aduato, Honorable Ochem Abuaje had 20 and Asenso Boakye had 39. When you go to Busheng, Honorable Ochem Abuaje had 13 and Asenso Boakye had 81. Yes, 81. 13 for Ochem and 81 for Asenso Boakye. Let's go to Oshim Amanfrom. Ochem Abuaje had 7, Asenso Boakye had 44. And so these are the provisional results that are coming in from the various electoral areas. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 8 electoral areas with provisional results coming in, and they all put Asenso Boakye, who is the Deputy Chief of Staff, in the lead. But let me remind you, these are provisional results. They've not been officially declared by the Electoral Commission, and so we are still waiting here at the Kwashi Aidan Hall, the Cultural Center, to find out what the results will be. But already some of the supporters are jubilating. What have you gathered so far?
Good afternoon to your cherished viewers. So far, what we are gathering is that Asenso Boakye is in the lead. I wouldn't want to go ahead of the Electoral Commission to announce what we are hearing. But so far, the results we are receiving so far at this coalition center in front of Kwashi Aidan Hall shows that Asenso Boakye is in a comfortable lead.
So the jubilation you find here is as a result of the provisional results that are coming in, and is making many of the supporters very, very happy at the moment. So thank you very much. But at this moment, I will say that there is no social distancing. They've been thrown to the dogs at the moment. The jubilation is ahead of results that have not been declared yet by the EC. But then they are jubilating because they think that the provisional results that are coming in put Asenso Boakye in the lead. And so that is the jubilation you find in here. We are waiting, still waiting for the Electoral Commission to collate all the figures and be able to officially declare the results that will come in to really tell us who has won the elections. But for now, the results that have come, 6 out of the 8, is putting Asenso Boakye in the lead. And so we are still waiting for the official results to come in. But for now, they have started trickling in, and behind me here in the hat is where the votes will come, and then we'll be collecting them to see who has officially won. just about 2 hours ago, Asenso Boachi came in here and he said he has a resounding victory, and so he's cocksure that definitely he's going to win these elections. Despite the fracas or the fisticuffs that ensued today, many of the people still think that Asenso Boachi has won, and that's why they are jubilating. So we are waiting for the official results to come in, and then we'll be able to see the declaration by the Electoral Commission, and we can call it a day. Mama.
Sorry, Donko, these are provisional results, you keep saying, but those supporters absolutely don't get that. They're jubilating because 6 out of the 8 areas, electoral areas, the results looks like Asenso is in the lead, and that's what his supporters are celebrating and going around with. So we're waiting for the Electoral Commission to do the declaration. But Francis Asenso Boachi, who is a Deputy Chief of Staff, hails from Bantama in the Ashanti region. Dr. Jonah, third time lucky, it looks?
Absolutely. I mean, the party has a lot of work to do because even though Ochim Boachi has lost, the few supporters that he has in the constituency will be very, very angry. And I don't know, the Chairman Blay, I think only a couple of days ago, issued a statement that the party will find a way of reconciling those who have been aggrieved, either because they were disqualified or even those who lose their seats. And I think this is something that the party should be working on very quickly before the main election, because I saw it coming. I saw that Asenso Boachi was going to win, but my problem then is how do you reconcile so that he himself also, he and his supporters contribute to the campaign for Asenso Boachi and the president to gather as many votes as possible?
There was a reason the party wanted to do the primaries early enough so they could have enough time to deal with some of these issues. But I'm just wondering, we have too many national things to think about. There's the compilation of the voters register. I'm wondering if the party will have enough time to bring everybody on board before December 2020.
Yes, they will have enough time because it's something that the party itself has thought about. I read Chairman Blay's statement. It's something that concerns them, especially where people have been disqualified. They think that if they are not able to come out with a workable plan, then people are going to contest as independent. They're going to take votes away from, and it's something that they're going to work on very, very quickly. Very, very quickly.
So this is Dom Kwabenya, away from Bantama. Dom Kwabenya, how would it turn out? We know that counting is underway exactly. So we'll link up with my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson, who would explain what's happening. I think I saw Ajua Safo, if you're watching on television. I thought I saw her in the shot a while ago. And then also Mike Okwe Jr. So we'll get Parker-Wilson to tell us what's happening in Dom Kwabenya. But this is not such a big shock in terms of Bantama because at a point, Asenso was in the lead, well, with what had been done on the ground. But then again, I think towards when it was getting really close, we're told that it was a close call. But it doesn't look like with the results that we've seen.
It had never been close.
All right, so that's I think Esla Owusu Ekofo is the person that we see, and this is Dom Kwabenya. So it will be interesting to know exactly what she's doing there. Parker will join us and explain.
I think it's in solidarity to solidarize with a fellow female MP. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. So we're bringing you visuals from Dom Kwabenya. We'll get the declaration, the results shortly. But Dr. Jonah, in Bantama, we didn't see social distancing. People simply, again, forgot. We're celebrating, jubilating, and forgot that.
Remember the point I made earlier, that nobody at the collation center, the police center, has been put in charge of ensuring that the protocols are met. So look at the way the people are jumping and hugging each other and so on and so forth. I wouldn't be surprised if our figures, case count goes up.
Because of the behavior.
Goes up. You know, fortunately, it's just an internal party.
But if we still don't have, you know, what you said is crucial. If we don't have people reminding either supporters or delegates
or the dedicated officers who constantly remind people that, look, we are voting, but life is precious. There's the need for us to maintain social distance and all the protocols and so on and so forth. You just leave the people to their own devices. No, it's not going to work.
Can you win? I mean, can you win a fight against COVID with elections? Election it's somebody's whole life. I mean, and it's difficult to control.
In Africa, elections makes a lot of difference. You can take somebody who has never made even $1,000 in his life. You give him a political appointment. At the end of 4 years, he's a millionaire. You know, so
well, supporters are also jubilating in Dom Kwabenya. So we'll bring you the sound. Let's see if we can understand what's happening on the ground.
Right, so there seems to be some excitement here at the station here at Kwabenya. Some supporters of the incumbent MP, Honorable Adjoa are jubilating even before the announcement, the official announcement of the Electoral Commission. I want to engage some of them briefly. Sir, just speak to you briefly. Why are you excited this afternoon?
I'm more excited. If there's any word apart from excited, that's what I should be announced or pronounced. By the way, His Excellency Okwe gave our MP chase, we were lots of hope. But after about 10 or 15 police station results, I think we've won and we cannot hide our excitement.
Why don't you wait for the Electoral Commission to officially announce the result even before
you are right. 2016, we didn't wait for the Electoral Commission to announce our presidential result for total jubilate because we knew the coalition before the Electoral Commission. We did collected it before coming to the coalition center, so we know everything before.
So for you, what is the result? I mean, how much did how many votes did the MP garnered on that?
Whether MP has gotten 1 or 2, all that we need or want is a victory, and there's a victory, nothing more victory.
Right. So much. So Mamavi, the point is that they don't care about the outcome of the result. Actually, all they know is that the MP has won this primaries, and that is why they are excited. I have seen about 2 different electoral officers from 2 different polling stations who have arrived at the collation center with their results as well. So very soon, the returning officer for the Dome Kwabenya constituency will be declaring the result for either the MP or Michael Kwe Jr., who is also the contender in this race. So this is the situation here at Dome Kwabenya Atomic Polling Station. In fact, a lot of the NPP delegates here are quite excited. Let me just get a quick reaction from this woman. Madam, why are you excited this afternoon?
I just suffer. Many are so. They are just a fire, and you're going to bet me, yes, sir, or your batampa. On the young man, come. I don't need to go out on what you need. I do, you, Hano, and that's some Kitua.
Why are you so sure that she has won the election? Then I will share what we know.
Oh, yeah, they don't know what you need. What you need, Daniel?
About to say, Electoral Commission can say, we need that.
This is what you need. Well, you don't know a party, so I just have a union. Also, you don't know the Baba.
Right, so lots of delegates there and telling me that, well, some a lot for them, they are excited and happy again that she has retained the seat. The delegates and the things that she's been doing for them. So on here at the Dome Atomic. Get a quick reaction from him, but before the announcement, some delegate belonging to the Just African says or saying that they know their candidates have won the election, and so okay. So I spoke to this man before.
Hey, hey, hey!
So
I told you. Yes, we have won. I told you. We won the election. I told you we won the election.
What makes you think you won the election?
We had a coalition. We have called all our people around. We've had all the numbers. We are winning. We've won. We have won.
Landslide victory?
We have gotten the victory we wanted. We are not, you see, let me tell you, I told you, you don't change the golden chicken or the golden hen that lays the golden eggs. No way. We wouldn't do that. The government knows what is good for us. So we wouldn't change our golden hen. No way. We won't do that. We are at the front bench. We won't go to the back bench. No way.
So what does this victory mean for the delegates of Dominica?
We have reposed another confidence in our MP. She's doing very well and she'll do better next time. Help me thank God. It's not just our might. It's just by the grace of God. We have come very far. Yes, so much. We worked very hard for it. Very, very, very hard for it. And we have gotten the victory we wanted. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. Right. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Right. Hallelujah.
God, and in fact, it's all about excitement and jubilation here from some delegates of Dominica constituency who are confident. And of course, as you can see just behind me, the jubilation keeps going on because they know that their candidate has won the election. We'll be updating you and give you the official results from the Electoral Commission when the results are announced.
Well, interesting, not official results. We actually don't have the official results yet, but supporters of Sarah Adjoa-Safo are excited already, jubilating. The procurement minister, public procurement minister, deputy majority leader of parliament, who herself is in her second term. It looks like she's on her way to going for a third term.
It's an NPP stronghold, so she's already an MP.
Once you become candidates, you're already in parliament. Yes. Well, we wait to see if that's what the case is. But let's go to Martina Bugri, who is in Tolong for some results. Martina, what are the results that you have? Martina Bugri is
underway, and they have done for about 5 polling centers. And so we are waiting in the collecting center for them to finish the rest of the counting. I must say that it's been generally peaceful in the Tolong constituency, except for one incident where one person did not find his name and supporters of 2 candidates almost clashed. But that has been resolved and we are waiting for the final declaration.
And that's Martina Bugri reporting from Tolong, the Tolong constituency, the member of parliament, the MP there now being contested, Alhaji Wahab Suhini Wumbe. It's actually 5 persons contesting the seat, so this is crucial. Habibi Idrisu, Jagbo Bako, Mohammed Zakaria, Hajia Amama Sayibu, all trying to unseat Alhaji Wombe there. So we'll see how that goes. Martina Bugri will bring us the results when she gets it. But buy and get one free every day at Eddie's Pizza Hut. Your branch only is located at Agbogba Flowers opposite AAA LP Gas. You can call them 027 413 3397. 027 413 3397. Eddie's Pizza can't beat that. It's your election headquarters. We're live here on the JoyNews channel, live on Joy 99.7 FM, on Love 99.5 in Kumasi. Many affiliates across the country on myjoyonline.com. And it's our coverage of the NPP's primaries. We've witnessed in Bantama, where Rastas Asari Donko reports provisional results, putting a Deputy Chief of Staff, Asenso Boache, in the lead. His supporters already jubilating, even though the Electoral Commission has not announced formal results yet. We're seeing a similar thing happening in Dom Kwabenya. Supporters of Adwoa Safo have already declared her the winner. Electoral Commission has not declared the results in Dom Kwabenya. So we will. Let's cross over now to Joseph Akable in the Adenta constituency.
We are looking at 778 delegates, we are told, who are voting amongst 5 individuals, which includes the current Member of Parliament, Yaboabia Samoa, who is seeking to be given the opportunity to lead the party and hopefully give the party another term in Parliament. And so it's keenly contested, but from the indication that we are getting so far in terms of the results coming from the various areas, it appears it's going in favor of the incumbent MP. In fact, I must make the point that they declared the results for this particular center quite a short while ago, and this center is where you have party executives, in terms of constituency executives and elders, as well as patrons who are within the Adentan constituency. It is this area that is where they cast their ballot, and so it gives an indication of what to expect in terms of how the leadership of the party feels to an extent. And their election results for this particular center had Emmanuel Mante, who is on number 1 on the list. He got 6 votes. Yaboabina Samoa, the current MP, had 21 votes. Frida Ajeman Sapon had 0. Rahman Razak also had 0, and Alfred Ababio had 0 as well. And so as it stands now, Mr. Boabia Samoa won at this particular center. That is also the coalition center for the constituency. And earlier when we spoke to him, he made a point that he understands the politics of this particular area. He knows very well that this is a center that is simply difficult to win, in that once what happens in the constituency is that when you win the election, they tend to vote you out, and they've done it a number of times. Sometimes you can be an incumbent MP and they can even, at your primary level, you even lose even before you get opportunity to represent your party. But he is very confident. He responded directly to that prediction that is coming from Mr. Efson, that if he wins the constituency, he's going to lose in the main election. He makes the point that he's going to prove him wrong, because Mr. Efson, he says, predicted that he was going to lose in 2016, but he won. They are bringing the ballot box from the various coalition centers. The results that we have seen from most of the voting areas indicates that Mr. Boabia Samoa is in the lead. And as you can see on my right-hand side, where the Electoral Commission's officials are doing the coalition, they are getting the results. They are now tabulating the results, and in some few minutes' time, they will give us the final results so that we know whether Mr. Boabia Samoa will have the opportunity to lead the residents of Adenta once again in terms of the NPP's ticket, and make a strong case that something that doesn't happen usually, to be given a second term. He hopes that the constituents will give him the opportunity to lead the party, and hopefully gives the party a second term. The interesting thing about him is that, as we all know, he's also the director of communication for the party, and so it tells you about the trust that they have in him. There is some jubilation underway outside. I'm getting closer to the action here to bring you the very latest. It's the constituency chairman who is coming in here, and there are already wild jubilations here. And so it's more of, okay, so I have one of the delegates here with me. Come with me. I'm going to speak to him quickly. He's here with me. So how do you find the election so far?
The election has been very smooth, peaceful, without any rancor whatsoever. Everything went smoothly, and at the end of the day, we've delivered Yaboabina Samoa for his second term.
You've been monitoring the results coming from the various areas. What indication are you getting?
You are getting an overwhelming endorsement for Yaboabina Samoa. He had a total of 422. If you combine the other aspirants, their total will not even beat Yaboabina Samoa. Mante had 217, Frida had 7, Kumi had 10, and Zach had 83. So Yaboabina Samoa has been given an overwhelming endorsement to go for his second term.
You are in this constituency. You know how things work in this constituency. Do you think Yaboabina Samoa can win in the 2020 polls if he gets the mandate here today?
No one should ever deceive you. Tell them Epson that his polls that he has been pulling around has nothing to do with Adenta. He doesn't step into the field to know what is going on. Adenta is delivering Yabuabia Samoa for the second time, and we are definitely going to win.
Thank you very much, sir. And so he had one delegate there. He took part in this particular process, and he's rooting for Yabuabia Samoa. He says the results they have already indicate that Yabuabia Samoa has won, and so they are already celebrating. We can see from on my left-hand side outside, there's a lot of jubilation there. But social distancing is a major problem at that point in time, and so that is why we are avoiding and not trying to go too close to that side for our own safety and obvious reasons. But the jubilation has already started because the delegate says they are getting the results from as many as 13 areas, and the results they have so far puts Yabuabia Samoa in the lead. And so this is the situation here at the Adentan constituency, specifically here at the Coalition Center, where in some few minutes we are expecting the results to be announced by the Electoral Commission officials.
Constituency again, without the Electoral Commission officially announcing the results, supporters of Yabuabia Samoa, who's the MP for the area, put him in the lead. He's a first-time MP in Parliament. Dr. Jonah, we've been talking about persons who have been contributing in Parliament. Yabuabia Samoa is also on the Subsidiary Legislation Committee as a ranking member, somebody who's also very vocal in Parliament, also speaking for the party. If he wins, that will be significant. But the big question is, will he eventually win in December?
Adenta is it's a kind of constituency. They don't retain you more than one time. So if Yabuabia Samoa is able to clinch it, it will be history.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reference to Benefsin because he spoke on our sister station at Semper FM and made the prediction as a poster that even if Yabuabia Samoa gets the nod today, he would lose the December election. And they're not forgiving him for saying that. They want to prove him wrong. And, you know, saying that they would win the December election if he wins, if he's on the ballot in December. So we wait to see. So we brought you some provisional results, if you like, from Adenta constituency with supporters already jubilating. There's a female who was contesting in this constituency. In one of the areas when Joseph read out the results, she actually got zero.
Zero, yeah.
So even when the few women that we have go forward, and the electoral area, this particular place where Joseph Akable mentioned the results, that's where officials also votes.
Yes. Yes.
And if she got zero in a place like that,
you could see Yabuabia Samoa's vote total tally in that particular constituency where the officials vote. You could see that the executives, the party elders are all behind him because he got a very high.
All right, we're still bringing you results from across the country with some few minutes to 2 o'clock. We will touch base with more of our reporters on the ground to bring you the results as they're coming in. There are some situations also in some other areas. We'll bring a lot of clarification from the grounds right here on your election headquarters when we touch base with some of our reporters. We've got results also from Ewutu Senya West constituency, provisional results. We will bring you some details from the electoral areas. So here we go with Ewutu electoral area. George Anda 68, Joseph Ado 11, Anoche in that Deto area, George Anda 17, Joseph Ado 4. So the results that I see, what is coming in from the areas, clearly Mr. George Anda is in the lead. But is that what would be reflective in terms of the entire results?
This is a true reflection of his popularity on the ground. He has done so well for the NPP youth in the area, finding them jobs and so on and so forth. And you know, under himself, a good communicator, a very good communicator. He's
a deputy communication minister.
He deserves this
a second term.
Yes, the kind of work he has done so far in the constituency, he deserves this.
Is this also one of those areas where you can say that if he wins today, he will win December 2020?
Though if he wins today, it's a very tough constituency, to be honest with you. The kind of work he has done in the constituency is something that is appreciated by the NPP youth. You know, they appreciate him so very much. It cannot be an indication that he's necessarily going to win but George Anda he'll be good for the constituency. He'll be good for the constituency. If he's able to win.
We'll take you back to Adenta now. We see in our shot Yao Boabeng Asamoah, the sitting MP for the area. Joseph Akable would explain what's happening.
The acclamations he's getting is that he's the history maker. It's all excitement here. So for our radio audience, what is happening here at the Adentan Coalition Center is that Mr. Yao Boabeng Asamoah, who is the MP for the Adentan constituency, just walked into the Coalition Center, and it's all jubilation, it's all excitement. The announcement, official announcement, is yet to take place, but he's lifted his hands, showing number 2, all is being cheered on by the fans who have surrounded him, his supporters who have surrounded him. They've thrown aside any talk about social distance or anything. It's just for excitement. You can imagine how excited they are. They say he's going to go on to make history and going to give the party a second term here. He just walked out of the Coalition Center. And so the wait continues for the official declaration. But, I mean, certainly, in terms of the delegates here, they know what they have seen. They know the result that has come in. And we can safely conclude that they expect the EC to just announce what they already know, that Yao Boabeng Asamoah has gotten the nod once again to represent the party in this particular primary. And so we are still waiting for the results, but the jubilation continues unabated, Mama V.
Reporting live from the Adenta constituency. But there's also in Priaso where the sitting MP said Kwame Champong has some competition coming from Davis Ansa Opoko. It's also one of the areas to look at. There's New Jabing North, Kwesi Boateng J and Samson Kwesi Ano. Results coming in from across the country. We're touching base with our reporters. It's your election headquarters live on radio on Joy 99.7 FM and Love FM 99.5 in Kumasi. Right here on the Joy News channel on DSTV on myjoyonline.com. Dr. Kwesi Jonah is with me in the studio. He has been since midday. Let's take you back to the Eastern region. Maxwell Kodako, hopefully he can hear me. Maxwell, what's happening where you are?
Well, Maori, presently at the New Jabin South Constituency Coalition Office. That is the Municipal Assembly. Now, there is a heavy...
It's Maxwell Kodako. So let's take you now to Dom Kwabenya. Esla Owusu-Ekofo speaking.
But we've run 2 elections there, we've never seen him. And so the sentiment from the ground was that, and they wrote that in the declaration, the forms that were attested to by the constituency executives, the national, the regional to national, that they didn't know him. If he's interested in leading, let him come and work with us. And so when we went for the vetting they reaffirmed the position that I've done a lot of work there. I've nurtured the constituency in a position through to power. And even when we got into power, the developmental projects that we brought in there are exceptional. And they think that if I were given 4 more years, I'll be able to do even more for the development of the constituency and to lift up the party's image and fortunes in the party, in the constituency as well. We want to win 2012 with an enhanced margin. We know we will retain that seat. It's a traditional NPP seat. We're determined to work hard to retain it. We won with a 14,000 vote difference the last time. We want to enhance that, double that if possible. They think that taking me as their candidate would work better for us to achieve that end than introducing totally new candidate who now has to be marketed. And we really don't have much time between now and December 5th. We literally have December 7th. We literally have 5 months. And so I'm the safer bet to help retain the seat. And ultimately, in all these things that we're doing, it's not for individual gain or benefit, but for the good of the NPP. We need to retain our majority in Parliament. We need to have the majority of the popular vote to enable our president to retain his seat. So we need to balance competing needs and demands and see which candidates on the balance of skills presents a better chance for the party to win the seat with a higher margin. And I think when they did that assessment in Ablekuma West, they were confident to go with Owusu Ekufo, and that's what enabled me to go unopposed.
Now, for you as an MP, do you think that this assessment should have been done for your deputy majority leader, Madam Ajosafo, for it to have gone on the poll?
I believe so. But in some of the, I don't know what went into the decision to allow Ajwa to be contested. But as I indicated, the gentleman who contested me had never worked in the constituency before. He's not a polling station executive. He wasn't part of our last 2 elections, has never even been a polling agent for us in any of the elections, has never contributed any money for the work of the party in the constituency. He was a total unknown, apart from his name. Okay. So he was riding on his father's name, more or less, not on what he had done. And we have a crop of very discerning electorate in our constituency. And so they decided that whichever name you have, we want to see what you can do to help us. Because they know Ursula. They know the work that Ursula has done in the constituency. So you are coming, you are Asimesi's son. Yeah, right. So what are you bringing to the table? They didn't see anything to convince them that he was a credible opponent. Unlike here, where His Excellency Michael Kwe Jr. has worked in this constituency, and he was a candidate in the previous election. So the dynamics are not the same, they're different. He can demonstrate that he's worked here, and I'm sure the results will indicate that he has, and from the what has been heard on the media and on the ground so far, it seems to be evenly balanced between the two of them. So he has sizable support in the constituency based on the fact, the work that he's done, not just for this constituency, but for the NPP party as a whole. My failed opponent is not known to have done any work for the party before he put in his bid to contest me. Michael Kwe was a very vocal advocate for the party long before we came into power. So there would have been a difficulty in finding reason to disqualify him and make him ineligible to contest.
Ursula Owusu Ekufo there, who is unopposed really. She's the candidate for the Ablekuma West constituency, but she's currently at the Dome Kwabena constituency. Let's take you now to Maxwell Kudako in the Eastern region. Let's see what Maxwell can report right now. Hopefully he can hear me. Maxwell Kudako.
Hi, Mama Lee.
What can you report, Maxwell?
Well, I can hear you very loud and clear. As I indicated earlier, I'm at the Constituency Coalition Center in the New Jaben South municipality. There are a lot of party sympathizers here in and out of the Coalition Center jubilating, even though the Electoral Commission have not declared fully who won the primaries. Supporters of the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Free Zones Board, Mr. Michael Ochibefi, started earlier jubilation even before they got to the polling station. There are a lot of security presence here. I've seen a lot of men in uniform from the Ghana Armed Forces and the Ghana Police Service trying to ensure that not.
All right, so Maxwell Kudako reporting from the Constituency Coalition Center, the New Jaben South constituency, reporting that even though, again, here, the Electoral Commission has not made any formal announcement, supporters of Michael Berfi are celebrating. Let's go to Botsiano English. My colleague Daniel Datsi is there live for us. Daniel, what's the situation? Hello, Daniel, if you can hear me. What can you report? Hello, Daniel Datsi. Daniel, activate your audio if you can hear me and explain what's been happening. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we can hear Daniel. We'll connect to Daniel, but let's go to Rafiq Salam. Rafiq, explain, where are you? What can you report?
I am currently at Laura, the Laura constituency. This is a constituency where we have Anton Abe Prakabo, Deputy Minister for Interior, being at the helm of affairs. And so today, he's still in charge because out of the 457 votes, Anthony Abe Prakabo had 403, his contender had 32. And so these are provisional results. The Electoral Commission is yet to declare him as the winner, but we have seen a jubilation here at Laura. The people are in a sexy mood. They're very happy that Anthony Abe Prakabo has been able to retain his position and to be the NPP in the 2020 polls. So earlier I spoke to Anthony Abe Prakabo, and he told me that it was because of the good work that he's been doing. Talked about the roads, talked about the water, talked about electricity, and also the connection of the 275-meter bridge along the Black Water. Some of the signs that the people are seeing, and they have faith in President Akufo-Addo and he himself, and they believe that that will be something that will catapult him through the 2020 polls.
Okay. All right, Rafiq Salam reporting from Lara there. Anthony Kabo looks like he's right on track for his second term. But is just the provisional results that Rafiq Salam was announcing there. We're going to take you on the grounds, but let's come back. Dr. Kwesi Jonah, you've been observing a lot of things. What would it mean for Michael Berfi, as we're seeing again? These are what the supporters think is happening. They think their candidate is in the lead, and they're celebrating, jubilating already, even though we have not had the Electoral Commission announce the results.
Well, yeah, I knew right from the beginning that somehow Michael Berfi was going to win. What I am concerned with is for a very good economist like his opponent, what does the party do for him so that he can continue to make his contribution even outside Parliament? Because you don't have to be inside Parliament to make the kind of contribution that is making to the Finance Committee. He can be in the party's economic management team so you can't lose a talent like this just because. But
are you also looking at the talent that is coming in?
Yes.
If we lost him?
Yeah, well, what are you doing here? You are dealing popularity. Basically, you are dealing popularity. And in the context of Ghanaian and African elections, you're also dealing with, how much
cash.
How much money you can pay. But whoever is coming in, I don't think we should lose this guy's talent. As an additional talent, it will be good for the party and the government.
Okay, so you want the government to make use of Marcus Ibeyabua, even if he loses his place in Parliament?
Something to do, yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's the new Jabing South constituency. Supporters of Michael Berfi, as we've heard Maxwell Kodako reports, they are jubilating. We do not have results yet, official results from the Electoral Commission.
The official results are not official results. There's no difference. So.
Do we take it that once the supporters are jubilating, then that's it, it's a done deal? Because we've seen that happen across Adenta, Bantama, New Jabing South.
Because of the mobile phone, your agents there are able to communicate the results as soon as, so by the time you come to collation center, they already know the results. Yes.
Okay, so we're already seeing some people fall along the line, people who are sitting MPs.
It's interesting how some sitting MPs are falling by the wayside in Bantama, in Jabing South, and how Adjosafo and Boabi Asamoah sitting MPs are able to, there's a balance, it looks like. Yeah.
Let's go back to Daniel Datsi. Daniel, where are you? What can you report from where you are?
Hi, Mama B. I'm currently at the Botiano Nglesia Manfro NPP constituency office, where we just saw the provisional results from the Electoral Commission. They will be declared in just a few minutes, but Sylvester Tete, who is CEO of the National Youth Authority, has won, according to the provisional results we've seen. He bested the incumbent member of parliament, Alhaji Habib Saad, by almost twice the number of votes. He won 317 votes. Alhaji Habib Saad won 178 votes. Now, I don't know if you can hear the sheer commotion behind me, Mama B, but Mr. Tete's supporters have gone agog. They are currently jubilating, singing, playing drums, and they are all chanting that their candidate is marching forward to victory in the year 2020 in December. I mean, of course, a bit of background for this constituency, Mama V, is that this is the first time the NPP has held the seat. It was actually created in 2012. It was carved out of Anyasium, and Brighthead and Kumoji of the NDC won the seat in 2012. In 2016, the NPP won for the first time, Alhaji Habib Saad, and now it looks like Sylvester Tete would have the job of attempting to retain the seat for the NPP in December.
All right, that's Daniel Datsi there reporting. It looks like another MP has fallen along the line. Sylvester Tete, the National Youth Authority boss, will be on the ticket for the NPP. These are provisional results that Daniel Datsi is reporting. What would it mean, Dr. Jonah, to see a lot more certain MPs fall?
Well, the argument in Parliament is that they are losing talent. Those who have accumulated experience and are able to do the actual legislative work, that is, the basic function of Parliament is legislating, making laws. It so happens, unfortunately, that if you take the 275 members in Parliament, very few of them are actually interested in that function. And so when it comes to the time when they make the laws, many of them are absent. So the work, it's not that they come and write their names and go and do something else. So the job of actual legislation falls on the shoulders of just a few members of Parliament. And that is why the parliamentary leadership wants as many of them as can do the work to be retained. Now, so when so many of them fall by the wayside, it means the new people who are coming in are now going to learn. But I have told you already my position, that we cannot write names on parliamentary seats that this is Kwesi Jonah's seat and he will be there forever. No. Democracy means competition, and we should allow people to compete with them. It is true that many of them who come in new are not interested in the legislative work itself. We must find a way of getting them interested, doing good orientation for them, that will show them that this is the reason why your people brought you to Parliament. And therefore, you must get seriously involved in the actual legislative function of the House. Otherwise, it's going to be a disaster.
But here we are, the delegates expect that the person that they vote for would constantly visit them in the constituency, be there for them, attend funerals, attend wedding, naming ceremonies, pay hospital bills, or pay them a visit when they have situations in the hospital. How do you do that? If you find yourself in the Greater Accra region, that's where Parliament is. It's much easier. But how would they do that? I'll come back to you for you to react on that.